There we go, there we go, there we go. Hello, 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 everybody, and welcome to Pieces of Pat Paints. I am Pat. These are pieces. We paint them. That's what we do around here. Let me get my medicine out of the way because you don't really care about that. I do because I need to take it. But that's not anything you guys came here to see. You came here to see things that we paint. That's what we do here. So we are working on this beautiful gal. She turned out great. Hopefully, this camera really doesn't like small things, and she is itty bitty. So it is hard to get a good lock on her. But she's looking great. There we go. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate you. So she's looking great. Really good. Really happy with that. It's Tabaxi Tuesday. It is. It's also Taco Tuesday. I wore my Taco Tuesday socks and stuff. So anyway, so we're gonna come in and we're gonna do a couple of things. We're gonna bring out her face a little bit. We're gonna add some dots because she's gonna look like a cheetah. Probably gonna glitz up her belt a little bit, and then we're gonna work on this base, and that should be about it. Might need a new color. I wasn't thinking about that earlier when I set everything up, but we might be needing a green. We are gonna need some blue for her eyes because this she wanted it to look like Chitara, and Chitara has like blue eyeshadow. So I'm gonna get into her face here just a second, and we'll see what we got going on. Alrighty. I really need to learn how to just paint by looking at the camera. If I could paint like this, boy, howdy, that'd be fun. It'd be really close. But unfortunately, I'm not quite that good yet. Maybe eventually. Okay, so Chitara has like a blue eyeshadow. So I'm gonna kind of make her eyes blue at first, and then after I get the eyes blue, I'll make the rest of her eye color. But she does have this little bit of eyeshadow that's like a blue. Oh, that's hard to see all the way down there. I think I missed a little bit. Keep hitting that camera. I have to push it up here in a second if I keep hitting it. Especially if you can't even see what I'm doing. I'm gonna move this thing. I think I had it moved yesterday while I was doing something else. Oh yeah, that's much better. Sorry about that, folks. Anyway, let me fix this. God, what a rough start there. Hopefully we can fix it. Get that blue out of there. Now it looks like we're gonna have to go ahead with a little bit of no space ice, right? We're just gonna have to bring in a little bit of that ochre back to fix it, and it should be fine. We'll let that settle in. Okay, well, while we let that set, we're gonna work on some of these spots. Now, looking at a cheetah, they just have tiny little speckle spots all over them. So that's all we really need to do is some tiny little speckles. And they are a little bit more white in some spaces. So we're going to put some white underneath her chin and down her neck. Pretty easy stuff. Just a few little pops. Don't worry too much about it. Now, when it comes to cheetah eyes, they do have this thing where it's like black here, and then it comes down. Their muzzle just a little bit like that. So we're going to add that in there. And we got a little bit more, not quite as far into the eye. There we go. I might need to correct that a little bit right there. All right, so bam. Got one dot that kind of hit another dot. So I'm put a little bit of line between them. Oh, that'll help. Now, like I said, we want to give her just a little bit more white. We also need to black up her nose. So I'm actually going to do this Naples yellow instead of full white. I feel like that's going to be a much better bit for us. And it being such a pale color, it should just fade into what we already have on here pretty easy for us, which is nice. But that little bit of change on the chin is really going to make this model look a whole lot better. Just give it that color breaks. This stuff's super important. If all your model gets to be too much one color, then it loses definition. And so it's not quite as entertaining to look at. All right, round two. Let's try these eyes again now that we got the camera in the right place and we can see a lot better. Let's not put it on our claws. Okay. There we go. That's a little bit better. Thunder, 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 catch Chitara. Come on, give me it's a good look, Steve. Come on. You're being mean today. Anyway, she's looking good. You'll just have to take my word for it. I promise you she is. She's looking great. That was the advantage of those bigger models. It's much easier to see them. These little tiny ones, it's so hard to see them. And put just a little bit more Naples down here under that shirt. And then we're going to have to get to work on painting said shirt. I'll finish up the rest of these little spots and her nose. And we'll get on to that shirt. Here we go. Little kitty cat nose. Oh, it looks a whole lot better from that profile. In person, it looks better than it does in that camera. I do need to fix up a little bit of her muzzle. We've got a little too much of the wash stuck on it. That'll help. There we go. All right, now I'm going to be doing more dots. I'm probably going to drive myself nuts with dots. And just kind of tiptoe around, barely tapping it. It's tappa 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 time. Slowly going through, tipping and tapping, and just make a little tiny. And if we need a little more, we're gonna need more paint, obviously, off and on. Tip, 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 tip. Oh yes, maybe just a little bit of dark in the ear. Yep, bring her ears out a little bit more. Still kind of hard to see her face with this camera, which is a shame. It looks pretty good. It looks kind of googly-eyed in the camera, but all right, now we got to do their other shoulder, and I don't want to get too crazy with the leopard spots. I might do a few on her thighs. I guess it's cheetah spots, isn't it? Not leopard. The spots really do sell it. It's pretty fun. I think I just saw a spot I missed with the ochre, which is strange. That's all right. Maybe I missed with the second one. It was hard to tell. All right, we're going to kind of leave that. Well, let's do her claws. Give her some black tip claws. Got to come up pretty high for me to see that. I'm just wisping, barely tipping it and pulling it up away from where I'm going, or from where I started, I should say. You want to make sure you head down the claw when you got the brush on it, and then you pick up and you go down again and across, and always away from the fingers. That way you can come off of the claw itself. And give you a nice set of little black claws. So fun. Okay. All right, we're gonna work on her. Oh, that's right. We did Vermillion underneath, and now we're gonna do this cadmium orange on top. Especially where it's going to be up where the sun's going to hit it. We want to drop this cadmium orange. Now we may do a blend down when we get to the recesses of her little uniform here. We might not. It just depends on how it starts to set in. We're going to take a look at it in a second. make a decision. Oh, you know what? I forgot to turn the music back on. It's always better when we have a little bit of music, right? There we go. Kind of jumped right into it, didn't it? Boom, boom. And again, try to stay on the edges. Let the recesses stay dark. That's the big key. And it looks like the color's settling in pretty good. I do think we can just leave the darker vermilion into our recesses and just use this lighter stuff on the tops, the more sun exposed areas, if you will. And I might come back with just a touch of that vermilion to season up everything else, brighten it up a little bit. I'm so carefully going over the tops of this. I'm just hitting the very raised edges. Being real careful not to get too far down into her uniform, costume, whatever you call it. A little bit, clean that up real quick. Probably needs just a touch of umber right underneath there. Darken that up just a touch. That would be helpful. Maybe say anything on this neckline here. Yeah, just to kind of mark it out. We can come back with a little bit of this orange. Clean that all up. A little bit more umber here on her back collar. And I'm just trying to set the line of the collar. A little bit of a shadow. Help it stand out just a little bit. Alright, come on with the vermilion down there, the underside of her back. Just catching all those nice raised areas. And the orange on the tops. I'm getting in with a little bit of ochre on her tail. There we go. Down there. A little bit of exposed right there. I'm in that spot now where I start seeing all the little places I missed, and I'll go back and fix them. Or maybe places where I overlapped a color I didn't intend to, or places that need a little bit more shading. Okay. Looking really great. I like it. Okay, so now we got to work on her feet. Oh, we need a little bit more. We're going to put a little bit more umber back in here. Just straight on. Create more shadow. Now we gave a little more shadow on her leg area. Alright, I'm going to come back with our Naples yellow. And we're just kind of edge highlighting this in a way, just to bring the color back after it got settled underneath the washes. Doesn't have to be perfect, but try just to get your edges. If you have to, you can always go back and hit it up with another wash. You want to avoid that, but sometimes that's what you gotta do. So we want to make sure that we've got enough color differentiation between this and the other stuff. Ah, that was wrong. My hand shook around on me. Come off there. And that'll happen to you. I'll take a little bit of break, stretch my hands out. If you start shaking, you're probably straining yourself. So you need to chill out for just a second. Doesn't even really matter what you do. Just chill out. Kind of let your hands relax. You really don't want to end up with carpal tunnel or anything like that. I've been fighting that for a long time. That's how I learned how to relax with my hands and just be chill for a second. Kind of let them hang at your side and, you know, kind of gently flex them in and out. Don't get too crazy. Roll them around. Don't go popping your knuckles and tilting them. Spraying them off against books and shit. Oop, I shouldn't have said that. I've been trying to be pretty good about my cussing. I've done pretty good for a while. I think that may be my first cuss word in a couple episodes. It's pretty good for me. Coming from kitchens, we cussed a lot. Like, I mean, a lot. Okay. Alright, that should dry by now. Let's try that again. A little less paint on my brush this time. Very gently grabbing these edges. Pulling out that Naples yellow color on the tops. Okay. Alright. Now, I think I want to do something with her belt. Maybe a little bronze or something else. And then we need maybe a green for the vine on the stone. So we want that. Maybe silver? No. What do I do with my bronze? There it is. On the kids' table. My kids have their own little space. It usually gets cluttered up with a bunch of other stuff because they're never in here. Well, not never. They're in here very occasionally, and they get kind of they go in spurts. You know, kids. That's how they are. And so they go in these little spurts that they're interested in and they're not. And modeling is pretty daunting for kids. It's not easy for younger kids. So we're adding a little bit and just need like a tiny, like I gave it like a tiny kiss of this iridescence bronze fine by Golden. One of my favorite metallics. I'm gonna use metallic paints. That's one of my favorites. It looks so good. It looks a lot like bronze or even brass. And then a little sap green by Windsor and Newton Galleria acrylic. And again, we just need like just a little tiny bit of that. A kiss of it, if you will. All right. Oh, and she had that little ring, didn't she? Well, we decided it was a ring. That should totally be bronze, too. Here we go. Little bronze or brass knuckle. I thought those were Zerglings next to Bob Ross. Zerglings isn't... they actually was a... At one point in time, I think they were going to use the Zerglings as the model for these. Or like the Zerglings were modeled on Tyranids or something like that. Tyranids are like a mix of... They're a mix of like the Xenomorph from Alien and the Zerglings and like a couple of other things. And over the years, they've changed what they're kind of... what they kind of are. We'll be back on those tomorrow. Right now, I'm working on this little Tabaxi keycap. We're going to put a little bit more bronze on her belt. Just to give it a little bit of bling. Plus, again, you've got a detail here, and we've got a chance for a color break. So we really should take it. And she's a monk, so she's not going to have a whole lot of flashy stuff. But maybe she's got this one belt. And her one ring. You just very carefully, very patiently go right down the line of that belt. Take your deep breaths if you need to. And Josh says, I feel like I need to get a 3D printer and then you could paint them. Let me think about this some more. I mean, yeah, you would be shocked what all's on 3D printing. Yeah, I mean, the thing with printing and selling is it depends on the licensing for the selling, and different artists and different companies have different licensings. But once you buy like a licensing for a certain thing on 3D printing, if you buy a merchant license, then you can sell, and that's how that goes. Oof, little miss. Yeah, I can get that before it dries. And a couple misses today. I must be fatigued. I am getting over being ill. I was ill all weekend. It was pretty rough. I'm feeling much better today. But I may still be a little woozy from that. Oh, shoot, did it again. Come out of there. There we go. Now, and get that all off of there, but we got to come back with that brown here in a second anyway. Should be okay. Dang, hand just shook right into it. Oh yeah, if you're doing custom characters for D&D, like if you're buying things off Hero Forge, or if you buy the file and you print it, or even if you buy the file and send it to me and I paint it, or if I print it and paint it. Yeah, there's a lot of the D&D stuff is, it gets interesting. WizKids, the actual company that makes D&D's main character line, their stuff is all legal. So you can, if you have their models, you can paint them. Same with Warhammer, like all that stuff out there is official Warhammer merch. And so it's you can sell it painted and nobody cares. They buy and sell and trade in those armies all day long. And I have some files for Tyranids that are printable. And if you're just looking to play the game, then yeah, totally print them because it's cheaper. But if you're looking to get into tournaments and stuff, the tournaments have some like requirements on how much of it can be like added to, and how much it has to be actual Games Workshop official merchandise, and blah 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 blah. Alrighty, she's looking pretty slick. Alright, so I'm thinking sandstone floor with the vines. Definitely want to make sure her paws are standing out real good. Josh says, it blows my mind that you can take any single thing on this planet and then find someone that has dedicated their entire life to studying and understanding that thing. Yeah, man, there's some people that are really, really super dedicated into one thing. I can't do that. I have so many things I like doing that like I can't ever seem to focus on just one thing for too long. I dedicated a lot of my life to chefing. I mean, I did that for a long time, and I was pretty good at it, but I've always been an artist deep down. That was what I was as a kid, was an artist. So now here I am back to doing art. So, that's good times. So, like I said, we're going to do a sandstone here. I'm going to drop Naples yellow down real quick. We're even going to let our little recesses play. We're not worried too much about it. These are all going to be cracks and stuff on the floor. Places where the monsters maybe step down too hard. So now there's indentions and scratches and paw prints and whatever have you. But yeah, so if you get, there's an interesting part about the printing side of it is the needing to get agreements from people that you're printing their stuff from. If you get caught, they'll cease and desist you, and they can sue you for it. But technically, I think if someone buys a file and either they print it or they send me the file to print and I print it, it's their file. They bought it. It's their miniature. Whether you print it and send it to me or whether you send me the file and I print it for you and Heck, you can even have miniatures that you buy printed. You go to Etsy and buy miniatures printed right now that aren't painted. But you got to be, I said, you got to make sure you're paying your dues for anybody that you're wanting to sell their miniatures. Now, a lot of those guys that do allow you to print and sell their stuff, they only allow a certain amount of people to print it. So there's only a certain amount of these licenses available at any given time. It's an interesting little business when you start getting into the printing side of it. Now, I'm sure there's plenty of people out there that do things on the DL, so to speak. But, yeah, ain't necessarily my style always. Depends on who it is and what they want. Alright, just trying to get a little color on everything right now. The base coat of this Naples. We're going to come back and we're really going to dirty this guy up. Lots of wash, or some different colored washes incoming here in just a second. Help get that sandstone look. Alright. So our first one is going to be that Umber. Probably need to let this dry for just a second longer. Wow, it's already been 46 minutes. Time flies when you're having fun. Where's my air can? Josh says I'm supposed to be working on emails and why this project is kind of imploded. But this is much more relaxing. Yeah, I bet. Well, yeah. Sometimes you need to take that little bit of zen, you know, and just chill for a second. Like, you know, you gotta sit back, take a breather, stop thinking about it, and then come back after you've chilled out. And the solution presents itself. Sometimes. I usually come up with my best solutions when I've stopped thinking about it. Like if I have a problem with a recipe or something, I'd always come up with the idea of what I needed to do for that recipe, like at a baseball game or driving in a car to a movie or standing in line at the fair or something like that, and like, oh man, that's what I need to do, because it always just came to me kind of as, you know, one of those, I hate to sound cliche or something, but it's that epiphany kind of feel. Alright, so there's our tile in. Oh, somebody in Cyrillic. I'm sorry, my friend, I don't read Cyrillic, and I don't have a translator, but thanks for stopping by. I really, really appreciate it, and thanks for the comment. I'll have to translate that later and reply or something. I should learn how to speak Cyrillic. That's or read it. I don't know. I don't know if that's Ukrainian or Russian. Either way, thanks for chiming in. Okay, so let that wash dry for just a little bit. And then we're going to drop another wash on top of it. We're going to put in some burnt umber. In this one, though, we're going to kind of be a little bit choosier about where all it goes. We don't really want it to be everywhere. Just in a few places. It kind of helps the sandstone become sandstone once it all hardens down and dries out. Yeah, Josh says those aha moments come out of nowhere. They certainly do. They certainly do. All right, while she's drying up, we'll send her up here in the camera. Starting to look Biffy. Get that focus. Come on. Come on, Steve. Give us a focus. Give us a focus. He doesn't like it. Anyway, bad camera aside, she's looking fantastic. The last thing we've got to do is we're going to hit these vines with a little bit of green, and then we'll black out her. We'll black out her base, and then that's all she wrote for that one. Oh, okay. So, no big deal, bro. Just wanted to say that you do a great job with these miniatures. Few manage to achieve such success, at least in my circle. I really appreciate that, friend. Oh, and Bill's back. Hey, Bill. Okay, Pat, this is turning into a regular thing for me. Your stream coincided with my post-lunch break. Well, I like that. We got about 10 minutes or so. We're waiting right now on a wash to dry on our sandstone. And like I said, you use that combination, put that dark umber down entirely. Pat is like my own personal Bob Ross. I love that. I grew up on Bob Ross. Like that was kind of my favorite thing to watch. And my Aunt Kathy was an artist. She's actually a pretty well-known artist in certain circles, you know. And so we would go out and hang out with her. I'm gonna hit it with a little bit. Oh, there's that silly refrigerator again. No, you don't. No, you don't. I put a pedal switch down here so I can just like click the pedal. I like to have the cold beverages, but I don't like it when it goes off in the middle of filming. Just trying to get that stuff to dry out just a little bit for us so we can get this green in and we can finish this up. Because I really got to get back to that Tabaxi. And Bill says, ooh, that Tabaxi is looking really good, buddy. I appreciate it. She's going to be splendiferous when she's all said and done. A little bit of green we're going to put down on this bottom is really going to finish this off. Because there's a little bit of a vine right here. And we really only want the very, very tip tops. Bob says, oh Lord, I just now saw the Bob Ross bobblehead in the background of the shot. Yeah. yeah, he's got different paintings too, like his little painting. You can flip them over. I flip them over every now and again when I remember to do it. It's funny, I can kind of keep track of where I am in episodes sometimes by where I'm like, oh yeah, that's when I flipped over the Bob Ross, that episode. I really need to start putting like a little like side moniker onto what we're working on. And I got to get the outro video done. That's my next big step is the outro video. Bill Allen with a question for you. Do you ever do commissions? I have a vintage set of unpainted Gamma World minis. I'm scared to try painting them myself. I do. I do those. I do all sorts of commissions. It depends on how many units there are and so on and so forth. The easiest way to get a hold of me is to either shoot me a text off my website. My phone number is on my website, which is also piecespatpaints.com. Or you can get a hold of me on Facebook via Pieces Pat Paints. Like all my social media stuff is Pieces Pat Paint stuff. So yeah, totally contact me. Like either text me directly to my phone number or send me a message on Facebook, and I can get you quoted up and get those figured out for you. But yeah, I'd love to do them. I just did a commission. It was a weird one. It was a Hamilton Funko Pop. We did a commission for a bar here in the city, a bar and lounge, kind of like a pub, supperette kind of thing. Is cool. Does that sound good? Now, and Josh, hey Josh. Josh says, good afternoon, Pat. Piece looks great. Thank you, sir. And yeah, awesome, Billy. I'd love to paint them, especially those vintage guys. They're so fun. You don't see a lot of that anymore. I've got an old, I think this is a Ralpartha, if I remember right. He's super old. And I kind of keep him chilling up there just to have him. But he's a pretty old guy. Yeah, Ralpartha. I'm not sure how long I've even had that one. I always buy like boxes of minis and stuff. Okay, well, that's our little green vine in, which really helps us out. Now all that's left is to black up her base, and she is done. We got a few minutes left to do that. So it looks like I was totally right. It is a 2-day job here. I always like throwing a little black on that base. It always helps finish off the model. If you don't have like flock or something like that on, and even that with the flock, if it's got an edge, I like to put a color on it. I do have a couple of groups of troops where they have different colors on their bases to kind of like, the idea was to help you call out, oh, I'm gonna fight that one, I'm gonna fight that one. It never really worked, because all my players just give my minis nicknames. And so, like, I have a zombie they call George Washington. And so because he has a wig. So, it's funny. So color coding him was pointless. But it was a neat adventure. It was a neat try. Alright, we're just going to keep coming around the edge here. Black this guy up. Probably should have put some gloves on to do this. Yeah, black line. And that black, especially against the sandstone effect we've got going on, that black is really going to kick it up. I think we're going to be done just in time, too. I'm starting to get the shakes pretty bad. Probably need to get some sleep. Better sleep. More sleep. Here we go. Check all my little spots. Yes. Alright. And now we have a little Tabaxi Monk. Oh, thank you, Steve. Good job, sir. I really appreciate you focusing in for us all. Yep. What did you use for the wash on her? So I make all my own washes. I just thin out paints to where they're pretty liquidy. For most of her fur, and for the base I'm using a raw umber. But then to get the sandstone, to get the reddishness on the air, the little bit of a red to it in spaces, we did a little bit of the burnt umber. And you get where you have the base of one color and then another wash on top of it in certain spaces, to kind of get the variations in colors and stuff like that. And as it dries out, it'll even look better. But yeah, this looks great. I'm really happy with that one. I think my player is going to be happy. She's a young lady, and so it'll be exciting for her to have a miniature that looks like the girl she wanted to play. So this is going to be perfect. And it looks like we are almost done for today, which is awesome. I really, really, really appreciate it. Oh, we got some more time. I guess I jumped on there pretty early, huh? It's 10 minutes still. So anyway, I still got a little bit of time. So the next thing we got to work on, let's talk about that. Now that this one's all done, put that together. So the next thing we got to do, we're back to the Tyranids. So I think we're gonna do these leapers next. These things are pretty gnarly looking. So I think this is what we're going to be doing next, are these guys. I've got 3 of them, so it's going to be interesting to paint. We'll be painting all 3 in that same paint scheme at once. And kind of back to back to back. Boom, 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 boom. So they're pretty interesting. They're a lot of fun. I'll get back to working on those guys too while I've got the paint palette out going. And hopefully, because we got this and 2 other sets of units to go. And then once those are done, then we'll be done with the Tyranid army. Or, well, I don't know that's a full army yet. But it's pretty close. I think I have over 1,000 points in it. I think. I don't know. So, yeah, Josh says these are awesome. They are. They're super cool. And we got 3 different poses. So, they're all... Seeing these pieces the computer loves because it's not so tiny. So, it grabs a nice crisp image for us. So, they look great. They've got all their first rounds of base coats on. I did with the... When I did all the airbrushing everything. It didn't catch everything quite as well as I wanted it to. But that's okay. We'll come back and tighten all that up. Like I said, 3 different poses. All of them are pretty righteous. Now these are advanced infiltrator units. So they're definitely going to be a little bit further out. You know, maybe down on the road a little further or whatever we decide to do with them. Like I said, the fight I think we're going to have is these guys straddling a road and the Marines are coming to get them. So, you know, a little narrative thing going on. But they're super cool. So we've got these guys, all 3 of them again. They're going to look great. It's going to be a lot of fun to paint those. So we'll be starting those tomorrow. Come back and see us for that. And then, let's see. We'll get her back up one more time. We're going to make sure she was good and dry. I don't know if we're going to get a good focus on her. Yeah, camera doesn't always like focusing on it, but she looks really, really good. That belt really, that little bit of flash on her belt, even without the focus, you can see the metallic on it, and that's fantastic. I think she's really gonna look spiff. She's really gonna be happy with that. So great little Tabaxi Monk, up in her kung fu kick, chilling out on a nice little floor with some great little details. Really awesome. Alright, well, that's all we've got for today. I hate to end them short, but what are you going to do, right? Oop, I'm going to knock things over. That's what I'm going to do. So, well, I hope all of you folks had a great time hanging out with me today. I had a great time. I always have a great time, though. I'm just that kind of guy. And I hope you came and had a good time with us. We had several people, even some more of our international guests. I love that. I love when we get that international reach. That really makes me feel like the internet is doing what it's supposed to. Because when I was a kid, you know, we started the internet to be able to reach out and connect to everybody. That was the whole idea. So now we're back to doing that, which is like super cool. At least it is for me. I would spend all my time in a kitchen, so I wouldn't know if this was normal or not. Anyway, I'm getting used to it as we go. We're now at episode 37, so it's pretty fun. You know, just trying to fill the air now. I really do appreciate you guys coming by and keep doing your streams, Pat. Yeah, man, thank you. I really appreciate that, Bill. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. We'll finish this army up, and then we're gonna move on to the next thing, and see where things go from there. And you know, we'll have if we ever hit 500 subscribers, I have a big car we're gonna paint. We're gonna trick it out to be like an orc car. It'll be a lot of fun. So other than that, keep on sharing my stuff. Keep on hitting those reactions. And Josh says, have a great rest of your day. Thanks for sharing your hour of solace. Hey, I appreciate it. I like that people kind of feel like this is a place to chill out and kind of get a little bit of a zen for a moment. Which is completely opposite of what I was as a chef. It was not. It was a lot of go, 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 go. So this is a whole lot more chill. And I like being able to do that. That change, you know, makes things interesting for me. I find it amusing. Anywho, I really do appreciate everybody who comes by. and says hello to and shares our videos or just watches the videos, or everybody who subscribed, everybody who likes, all that stuff. You guys are amazing. And we'll see you tomorrow. We're gonna get back on Project Tyranid, and we'll have some points to play with here pretty soon. And if my kids ever get their armies together, we'll have a fight, and maybe I'll film that live, and you guys can watch my kids try to kill off all these wonderful space bugs we've made over here. So until I see you guys tomorrow, have a great day, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.